I'm Tim Ellis. Thank you for joining us for Laneway Live. As you would have heard, this year's Melbourne Magic Festival has been cancelled. However, this gives us an extra 12 months to make sure the 2021 event is bigger and better than anything you've ever seen before. And that includes our special guests, two of whom I'll be speaking to right now. Please welcome, live from Las Vegas, Kyle and Mistie Knight.
Hello, I'm Kyle Knight. This is my wife, Mistie. We are illusionists.
We live here in Las Vegas.
Our neighbors probably think we're a little bit crazy.
We each perform magic separately and together, and we try to do everything we do as a partnership.
That's for me.
You're cleaning that up.
Kyle Knight, and this is my wife, Mistie.
Combine our skills and open up the magic tapping.
Hold it up so the cameras and everybody can see that egg inside there. Do you have a pen on your desk right there? Yeah, break it. Oh, yes, and look inside there. Inside that egg right there is something, I hope it looks familiar. Is that, Jason, is that your ring?
The suspense.
It's my ring.
Give it up, thank you so much.
We sat here scratching our heads over that damn egg.
You're going home with $10,000.
Guys, that is ridiculous.
No wonder you won the $10,000. That is
Thank you so much, guys. What just happened?
Was a phenomenal act, didn't we, ladies and gentlemen? It was tremendous, fun and entertaining. Mistie, Kyle, thank you so much. That was fabulous.
Hello, welcome to Australia.
Hey.
Hello.
Now, I know you're not in Australia. Where are you right now?
We are in Las Vegas.
In your home?
In our home, yes.
Yep.
This is our dining room table.
Very nice, very nice. Now, of course, a lot of people didn't realize, but you were going to be one of our special guests here at the Melbourne Magic Festival.
Yes, that would have been our first time in Australia.
We have been to 82 countries, and for years I've been saying I want to go to Australia, and we had offers and it just didn't work out, and we were so excited to finally be coming and bringing some magic too, and so we'll just have to put it on pause.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
12
in the
months.
future, you never know.
It gives us so much extra time to anticipate.
Uh-huh.
Well,
So-
we're looking forward to it either way.
We are very much looking forward to seeing you come down. Now, a lot of people will know you from all your work on cruise ships.
We've been around the world, yes, on the cruise ships. We do quite a few. We do Royal Caribbean, Disney, Celebrity.
Those are the main ones that we've been doing.
We have been around the world with them. So yeah, done quite a few of them, but we try to mix it up. We do a lot in Vegas as well, and we do a lot of touring in California.
And a lot of different conventions and magic festivals and things like that.
So yeah, we try to stay busy, or at least whenever we can.
When did you start on the cruise lines?
I met Kyle in 2002, and we've been doing cruises I met him I was a guest on the cruises, and most people don't know this.
Isn't that illegal? You're not allowed to mingle with the guests.
Well, now because of him,
I think they made the rules for me.
But I got in there before they did. But anyway, long time ago, we met, kept in touch over the phone for almost a year while I was still finishing college, and then I came to visit him in Vegas and canceled my flight home. But I originally met him on a cruise out of New Orleans, and we've been performing together predominantly on cruises ever since then, 2003. And he had been doing it a few years prior to that.
And is that, was he doing illusions at the time?
I was doing illusions at the time, yeah. And Mistie came in, and she wasn't actually a trained dancer when she first came in. And so, but she learned enough of the choreography and, you know, enough to make everything passable. But then our styles totally changed, and now we hardly do any choreography in Big Illusions. It's all personality pieces. And
there's a lot of speaking from the both of us throughout the show. There's no choreography. We kind of have an irreverent attitude almost toward it, where we try not to take ourselves too seriously. You know, we try not to do lots of poses and that kind of stuff. And it's just, you know, the whole thing has shifted, and this is what suits us now. But it's fun to look back and to see the experiences we've had with a lot of Big Illusions and the different styles over the years.
Yeah, we try to really combine everything we do with, you know, both of us performing together.
Yeah, there was a shift about 2009 where it's funny the way that it came about. We were performing in Europe, and our audiences were mostly from Spain, not speaking any English for quite a period of time. And I'm really good at learning other languages pretty quickly. And so I was able to kind of crash course and learn to translate the show in Spanish. And just before that too, we started adding bits of me speaking in the show, and they were so receptive to it. So it was around that time that we really decided we were going to be partners and make sure our audience recognized us each individually and as partners. And from then, you know, every time we try to do anything new in the show, it's definitely, you know, portraying us both as equals like that, rather than having an assistant role.
Well, one of the clips I'd love to show is a clip where you're playing the piano while Kyle is doing a piece. And a lot of people talk about, you know, combining live magic with live music as something they want to do, but you guys have actually done it. We'll just have a quick look. You've been playing the piano for a long time, because that was pretty good.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I have been playing since I was a little girl. And, you know, we just wanted to find ways to showcase who we were, you know, and not try to pretend like we're somebody that we're not. I was never a dancer, so we didn't want to take that route. But I was a pianist, and I was a public speaker. I was comfortable speaking on stage. So those are the routes that we took and tried to showcase that. And the audiences really responded to it. It was nice because at the beginning of that routine, you know, he introduced it as a duet of magic and music, and he would leave the stage and I would start completely solo on stage playing the piano, and then he would join me halfway through. And we just made it so that the magic moments, you know, tied in perfectly with the timing of the crescendos and the music. And it was a nice, different thing that they hadn't seen before. And not all theaters allowed it, but when we had a baby grand that we could use, we would use it in the show.
Absolutely.
Well, I can see why the cruise lines love it, because that really makes you stand out from all of the other magic shows.
It was nice, yeah.
But from what I hear, you used to do a lot of Big Illusion shows, and it would take you hours to pack up. I guess you'd be on the ships for long contracts.
Months, yeah, we used to do that quite a bit.
But we haven't done long-term situations like that on cruises since probably 2014, I think was the last time we did a long period. And in the last 4 years or so, we've predominantly just been doing what in the cruise industry they call a fly-on show, but basically just packs into a couple suitcases. It's a stand-up show, but it's not comedy magic necessarily. It's still us performing magic, the two of us. And, we try to make it as big as possible and lots of high energy, and there's lots of costume changes, and each of us are presenting the magic. So it's still,
we still really pack a lot
style,
into it, but yeah.
But no illusions.
So fast costume changes like this?
So most men spend a lot of time waiting for their wives to get ready, decide what they're going to wear. We're just a little bit different than that. I do have to wait a lot on her, but it's a little bit different because, well, she's already changed.
But this is so nice that you adapt your styles and you do everything. You take all of your strengths and combine them into the one show. I love that.
That's something that we try to do. And we also take a lot of pride in really putting effort forth to understand the audience and the demographic, because our show changes quite a bit depending on who we're performing for. And, just really trying to connect with the audience. And you can't do that unless you actually try to understand them. And so, if we're in Europe or in the Middle East or in China or in South America, the show changes depending on where we are.
And is that some of the stuff that you touch on in your lecture?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. We talk about that a lot. We also talk about making small things play really large on stage. So
a lot of times people think that, pack small, play big means physically just making something bigger on stage. But we've kind of learned over the years that there are ways to gain that experience of having a big show from the audience's perspective that isn't necessarily about the size of props or even how big they appear. It's about the energy, it's about involving them, even throwing things in the audience where it's breaking that wall. There's those kind of things really make it seem bigger. And those are the things that we really strive toward in our show, especially the one that packs in suitcases. So
I guess the new tables that you've been making for the magic industry are
that's funny,
side products.
We actually brought them to a couple conventions.
We've been using it in our own show.
Yeah,
he built it for us.
And then the other magicians at the convention said, I love that table. Where can I get that? I built it. So I decided I'd start to sell them to the magic community. It's something that packs into a suitcase that weighs like, what was it?
10, 11 pounds.
12 pounds,
yeah.
I think, something like that. And just, builds into like a minute, tears down. It's really strong.
There's not really anything else like that on the market. There's comparable tables that are suitcase tables, but they're quite big and bulky. And if you actually check them as a suitcase, they're going to get damaged. And these go inside the suitcase along with anything else you want to pack around it. And
they've been really selling well. And I've been having a lot of free time now to build extras.
That's what he's been doing.
I've been building a lot of tables lately.
I'll put the link down there so people can order them.
That's awesome, yeah.
I've just made a new one too that's small, that only weighs 2 pounds. This is just a fun thing that
this is made. Just, yes, little tables I've been building, so yay.
Wow. Just like an extra little table. Like we wouldn't have these if we were doing a meet and greet afterward. We had business cards and stuff. Just something.
You never know. You always need little tables in magic shows. So
I have tried to make them myself out of corflute and out of pipes and things, and they're never stable. They're never strong.
Yeah, no, I've got these, and I've got the secret behind it. So
yes. He's quite the carpenter. So before he started performing his own show, he worked at Bill Smith's building illusions, and he's built quite a few of the illusions that we have in our show. So he can build or fix anything.
Now you were mentioning he's also quite the seamstress.
Yes, I am.
He's getting so mad at me. So the tables that we produce come with a custom fit tablecloth that's made to go right over it, and he sews all that by hand. And
I'm pretty good on the sewing machine. I've been getting better and better, and I've been sewing masks actually.
The project today was making our face masks so we can stay safe.
So how are you dealing with coronavirus over there?
It's so, I don't know.
Las Vegas is kind of a ghost town right now.
It's so weird.
It's scary.
Something like this that none of us have ever had in our lifetimes. And I'm a very optimistic person, but I don't do well with uncertainty. I like to have some kind of line to focus on where I know, where I can plan and say, okay, this is my situation for this amount of time. And with this, none of us know. So that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. And having our whole world wrapped up in theater and even more so in cruises, that really severely limits us and what we're able to do even when this starts to calm down. And I work as an agent and a manager for a handful of other acts on ships. So aside from our own, I'm worried about them and making sure that we're all able to get back to work soon.
So were you on a ship at the time when it all hit?
We were just leaving. We were hoping we'd actually get off the ship, and we got off in Grand Cayman.
11th of March, we got off the ship, and the March 13th was when the U.S. declared national emergency. So we got off just in time. And I remember we were sitting in the customs office in Grand Cayman, and there were 6 ships anchored there, and there were already discussions about some of them not being allowed into port because they had flu-like symptoms on board. And we sat there, and he wouldn't even talk to us until the person from the ship that was clearing the ship gave them all the information about the health of everyone on board. So we're just sitting there waiting and just hoping that he says nobody's sick, because if they say they are, we can't even leave. But fortunately, there was no issue on board with anyone. They were all healthy. And then we got the heck out of there and got back to the States, went straight to Tennessee for a magic convention, the Winter Carnival of Magic, did our shows there and lecture, and then back to Vegas. And we have been here in quarantine ever since.
Have you seen the Strip at the moment?
It is. There's nothing going on there. I mean, it's like a ghost town down the Strip. So yeah,
it's just spooky.
It's weird. Yeah, it's really weird. I've never seen this before. So.
And they say that Nevada, in relation to all the states in the United States, we rely the most heavily on tourism. So our economy is going to be greatly affected by this. And there's a big struggle because the mayor of Las Vegas is fighting to reopen everything, whereas the governor is very, solid in saying, no, we're staying in as long as we need to. So there's a lot of controversy about when to open.
Well, the big debate is, do you try and restart the economy at the risk of killing more people? Because otherwise you're not going to have much of an economy if you don't have the people there.
Yeah. And my fear is that we're going to open and everybody's going to be so excited, and then there's going to be a relapse rather quickly where we're right back where we were and just further delayed.
Well, it's definitely a challenge, and especially international travel is going to be affected because some countries like New Zealand have just announced they're sort of almost conquering the virus and they're going out of lockdown today. But are people going to be able to come and visit?
Yeah. Wow.
It just, the whole thing is so uncertain. They say we're supposed to be hitting our peak this week. And then from that, hopefully the numbers will go down and then we can get a more clear idea of when this might start to die down.
Well, it is going to be very challenging for everybody in the entertainment industry, especially because there's not a lot of other options. Not everyone can make tables like you guys can.
That's correct.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Pay the mortgage with tables.
I'm not qualified to do anything else except the world traveling magicians.
I don't worry about him. Whatever comes our way, we'll figure it out. We'll find another plan. We've always been really good at just kind of rolling with it because the industry has changed so much over the years already. And I see that it will change again now. When we come out of this, I don't think it'll be the same as what we were used to. So we'll just have to wait and see and roll with it.
But your improvisational skills came in very handy on the show Wizard Wars.
Yes, that was one of our favorite TV shows. That was quite a while ago now, but I like that one. That was I would never do that again. It was so stressful.
The concept of the show is that they gave you random things and you didn't know what they were going to be. And then you had to create magic using these objects. And then another opposing team was given the same objects and you had to see what they come up with. And then there would be a winner between those two teams, and that winner would advance into the final round, who competed against the Wizards, which was basically like the in-house power team that were given consultants. They were given every advantage possible to be able to win. And on the season that we competed, we were the only challengers to actually beat the Wizards the whole season.
So, and we won the whole thing. So yeah.
It was a good experience.
You did a fantastic job. We love it because it's we play magic sports, which is improvised theater. It's like theater sports, but for magicians.
Oh, that's funny.
One of the games is Make a Trick. So we do the same game, but you only get like an hour at the most to get your
they made it seem on the TV show like we had a few hours. And of course, that's TV for you. In reality, we had a week. They told us what our items were going to be a week before. Now, we didn't have access to anything. It was just a matter of thinking. Once we got there, we were pretty much locked in this really hot room. And to be able, there was the reason why I say that is because there was one big fan and we all kept fighting over it. Like somebody would be working on their magic and they would take the fan and he would aim it at you. So you would have the air. But it was tough for a lot of different reasons, even though,
we invented some cool things for that. Some neat things came out of it. I invented a way of getting a ring inside an egg without cracking the shell of an egg. And in fact, when we do lectures, we talk about this at our lectures, and we let the magicians guess. So far, only.
But we actually tip part of that performance at our lectures. We share, Kyle has a lot of close-up magic and things that and a couple stage things that he's created over the years, and we share those. And the method of how we vanish the ring is something we share in our lecture, and he shows that whole thing. But then the part that we keep a secret is how we got the ring inside the egg, because it genuinely was a real egg. Less than a minute later, appears behind the judges. They look at it from all sides. There's no seams, there's nothing. They crack it open. They see inside that it genuinely is the judge's ring. And it actually fooled Penn and Teller and the other judges. They said that we won based on the deception. And then when the show was over, we were all taking our microphones off, and Teller comes up and said, "Can I have a guess?" And he guessed wrong. So that was kind of fun.
So you fooled Penn and Teller before fooling Penn and Teller was a thing.
In secret off camera.
And you did go on Penn and Teller's Fool Us afterwards, but you didn't
Yes,
do
we
the same
did.
thing.
We did an illusion on that, yes.
Yeah, the producers actually saw us on Wizard Wars and invited us to come be on the show for Fool Us. And they were kind of attracted to us because they knew that we weren't going to do close-up magic. They wanted something bigger. So they specifically asked for an illusion, but we didn't want to do anything boxy. And most of our illusions weren't boxy anyway. So we chose something that hadn't been seen very much. And we didn't expect it to fool them, but it was something that was good for TV, and it was a good experience. They treat you well on that show.
And you got some nice contracts out of it, I imagine, afterwards?
Oh, yeah. International stuff. A lot of people saw us on that show, in Asia and things that we wouldn't have gotten if it wasn't for the exposure for that.
Well, that's fantastic. It looks like your career was just going up and up and up and up, and just now it's on pause.
Yes, I think so too. I've never had this much time off ever. I mean, we literally are always just go. We do a gig, we come back home, we repack. The show is going. This show is going this direction. Another semi's coming to pick up some illusion for this show, and
we've never had more than maybe 3 or 4 weeks off without a show ever.
Yeah, so this is crazy.
And this will be probably, if the cruises start back, they've just put out a notice saying that it's going to be probably mid-July in the U.S. before they even allow them to start doing it again. So this will be over 20 weeks, which is the most we've ever had. And we have other shows too that were outside of the cruises. We had a theater in Lake Tahoe that we were supposed to do at the beginning of next month. We're actually still currently booked for the end of May to perform at Jeff Hobson's Magic Theater in California. Fingers crossed, maybe that'll still happen, but we don't know.
Well, we are very sad that we couldn't have you come and visit with us, because we are looking forward to trying to figure out how you get the ring into the egg.
Did you finish telling them what you were saying when we do our lecture?
Oh yeah, okay.
You
go ahead.
You'll
explain it better.
So at the end of the lecture, just for fun, we kind of we combine the whole concept of Wizard Wars and Fool Us and all that, and we tell them the whole thing that I just told you about the egg and how we got the ring in it, and we give the people in the lecture in that room, the magicians that are there in that room during the time that we're there for the scheduled lecture, they can come up and whisper in his ear, and if they guess it right, we have this little trophy, and we give them a trophy. But nobody, based on those parameters, has won the trophy yet of the 5 or 6 conventions we've presented it at.
So
you have set the challenge. Australia, rise to the occasion. Watch the show. Get your theories ready, because next July 2021, some
that's like a whole year. That's a serious advantage now.
You better bring a lot of trophies, I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
Look, it's been so nice to chat with you, and I'm so sorry we can't have you coming along now, but we're all in the same boat, to use a cruise analogy. That's the
thing. It's not like it's a race. We're all paused right now. So we're all hopefully going to come out of this with some new ideas and refreshed from rest. Who knows?
Ready to do some magic shows. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for spending some time with us. We'll catch you very soon. Bye-bye.
Good talking to you. Bye.
Be legend.